This is what the Premier League table currently looks like. As you can see, there is so much to play for in the top half and down near the bottom. Of course, we'd all love to know what the table will look like come the end of May, but we won't know that until the end of May when the season is finished. But we can try and calculate it. Remember guys, this is not a predictions video, but an estimated calculation using expected goals, the form these teams are in, the squad quality that they've got, the run-ins that they've got, the fixtures upcoming, the managers that they've got, the managers that they've got coming in, loads of different stats and bits and pieces all calculated together to produce this Premier League table. Like I say guys, do feel free to share your thoughts down below. Of course, do make sure to drop a like. We'll go for 200 likes on this video. Do make sure to subscribe down below, and let's start with the title race. This table has landed with Manchester City winning the league, Arsenal in second and Manchester United in third place. Now I think most of us football fans are starting to realise this is a title that probably 3 teams can win. I don't think anyone expects any team below these 3 to win the title. Manchester United are probably the outsiders at this moment. Manchester City are most people's favourites, and Arsenal are that team in Manchester City's way that have been having a brilliant season. Manchester City have a lot going for them. History tells us that they do win the Premier League on most occasions. They're currently top of the form table. They are the bookies' favourites to win the league. They've got the best expected goals, and no matter who their running is, you do fancy Manchester City to win most games. They've won away at Arsenal, and they've now got to play Arsenal at home. So, in my opinion, despite Arsenal being top, I agree with this table that Manchester City are probably the favourites. Arsenal come in second place. They are having a brilliant season, and the weekend just gone swung things back into their favour a little bit. Despite losing to Manchester City in that massive 6-pointer game, they did beat Aston Villa and watch Manchester City drop points to Nottingham Forest. Arsenal are currently the bookies' second favourites to win the league. They're second on the expected goals. They've obviously got a great squad that we're all familiar with. Arteta is certainly a great coach as well. Their form in the last 6 games has them 6th in the form table, so their form does need to improve. But like I say, it was a great result last time out at Villa Park. Leicester away is their next game. Arsenal really need to keep winning to keep themselves in this conversation. Manchester United coming in third place. They look cemented in third, or at least they won't go any lower than third, the form they're in. If Manchester United keep going the way they are, they might be able to catch Arsenal. They're 4th on the form table based on the last 6 games. They come up 3rd in the bookies' predictions to win the league, and 4th on the expected goals. So quite a lot going for Manchester United. I feel like I probably agree with this table putting Manchester United 3rd. I don't think they'll finish any lower. It's possible they might jump into the top 2. As for the title, it's not impossible, but at this moment in time, it's probably quite a bit to ask right now. So then next up, the Champions League battle. Who wraps up 4th place? Tottenham are coming in 4th, Newcastle 5th, and Liverpool 6th. I think it's probably going to be between these 3 teams. Yes, there's Fulham, Brentford, Brighton and Chelsea, who we'll come on to in a minute, but these 3 certainly have the squad quality and depth to surely wrap up a top 4 place. Now Tottenham are currently 4th, albeit Newcastle have a game in hand on them and Liverpool have 2 games in hand on them. The stats are a bit skewed on Tottenham. In their last 6 games, they sit 9th in the form table, which isn't great, but it is better than Newcastle at this moment in time. They're the bookies' 6th favourites to win the league. I don't think Tottenham fans think they're going to win the league, but the bookies are basically putting them 6th in the table, and they currently have the 7th best expected goals. All 3 of these teams, Tottenham, Newcastle and Liverpool, have fantastic managers. Conte is a winner. They really need a top 4 finish though for this season to be a good one for Tottenham Hotspur. Newcastle are now 5th. They have a game in hand on Spurs, and we'll have 2 games in hand on them after this weekend when they play in the Carabao Cup final. The stats once again are a bit skewed on Newcastle. Quite a lot of them were pointing in the right direction, except for their form over the last couple games. Over the last 6 games, Newcastle have dropped to 11th in the form table. It's not even that they're losing many. They've only lost to Liverpool this season. Its draws are really killing them against some of the bottom half teams. Yes, once again, a good improving squad. I don't know if they've got so many superstars to compare with the likes of Liverpool, but once again, Eddie Howe is building that team up nicely, and as a neutral, I'd like Newcastle to get into 4th place, but this table has put them in 5th. On the expected goals though, Newcastle are 3rd. Liverpool come in 6th place. I think we all thought they would start to improve, but have they left it too late to get into the top 4? I wouldn't say they have, but it's going to be difficult. Liverpool come up 13th in the form table over the last 6 games, but of course have won their last 2, which is obviously something worth noting. They're the bookies' 5th favourites to win the league, which basically puts them 5th in the table with the bookies' predictions. And Liverpool come up 8th in the expected goals. I think with Liverpool, what you've got to factor in is there's a bit of a gelling process going in here. Núñez hasn't had the best first season, but you can see signs that he could be a really good player, of course, and he has chipped in with a couple of goals. The same could be said with Gakpo, and obviously they've got the players and the manager from when they won the title 3 years ago. So Liverpool in 6th seems fairly reasonable from this table. Up next, the next 4 teams to wrap up the top 10, we have Brighton, Fulham, Brentford and Chelsea. I think it's astonishing to see Brentford and Fulham above Chelsea, and I really do think that could happen come the end of the season. Let's start with Brighton. Everything is pointing in the right direction for Brighton. Brighton are currently 7th. They sit 3rd in the form table based on the last 6 games. Obviously their most recent game was that defeat to Fulham, really painful one to take. If Brighton really want to push on and try and crack into that top 6, they can't afford too many of those kind of results. And they're the bookies' 7th favourites in the league, so the bookmakers have them to sit 7th come the end of the season, and they're coming up 5th on the expected goals, and they're playing really well. I thought Brighton, I was a bit unsure about when the manager changed, because Graham Potter was doing so well with them, but they just seem like a really well run club no matter who the manager is there now, and you can say he's probably laid down some very good foundations. Brighton in 7th, I think I agree with that. Fulham are up next in 8th place. They just beat Brighton, as I say, in the last weekend of games. Everything's looking pretty good for Fulham at the moment. They currently sit 6th, which is fantastic from a team that was in the Championship last year. They're 7th in the form table, so they deserve to be up there. They're 9th in the bookies predictions, so dropping down a couple places, and showing up 13th on the expected goals, so slightly overperforming on the expected goals, but you can say that's still a good thing that they're being clinical. I think Fulham are doing fantastic, and if they finish in the top 7, that'd be amazing. This table has got them 8th. Up next are Brentford. I think you could swap Brentford with any of these teams. It seems really tight. I do like Brentford, and Brentford are showing up really well on lots of the metrics and stats as well. Brentford are obviously 9th in the table currently. In their last 6 games, they're coming up as the 2nd best team in the form table, which is just incredible. 3 wins and 3 draws. Obviously, if they could turn a couple of those draws into wins, they could really push on a bit more, but this is still amazing considering where Brentford have come from over the last 5 or 10 years. They come up 10th in the bookies prediction and show up 6th on the expected goals, so they're a very good team. In 10th place are Chelsea, who currently sit 10th in the Premier League. I think this seems fairly accurate based on the fact I don't see Chelsea climbing ahead of these teams, but I don't see Chelsea falling below any of the teams in the bottom half. Chelsea seem like they've levelled out here, and it's not really a great season. Once again, a season of transition. Let's have a look at the stats. They currently sit 10th. They're 15th in the form table, which is obviously quite concerning. They come up 8th in the bookmakers' prediction, so the bookies do seem to think that the overall squad quality should blast them up the table a couple places at least, but they come up 10th in the expected goals, so they're probably where they deserve to be. Next up, some mid-table teams that look pretty safe to stay up. Aston Villa in 11th. Now, Aston Villa at the moment have lost a few games, but they still show up 12th in the form table based on the last 6, so a bit of a streaky team, Aston Villa, I think we can all say. In terms of expected goals, they show up 12th as well, but the bookmakers have them 11th, which is where they currently sit, so everything seems around 11th or 12th for Aston Villa. Once again, a very good team, and if Unai Emery could get them on a really good streak for a long stretch of time, then they could break into the top 10 this season. But based on the fact they can lose games just as easy as they can win them, I think 11th seems fairly accurate from this table. Nottingham Forest come up in 12th, which is once again fantastic for a team that was in the Championship last year, especially a team that needed to change so much in the summer. Now, at the start of the season, I had Nottingham Forest to finish 11th, and a few games in, I was a bit like, I'm not too sure. I did stand by them staying up throughout this season, though. They currently sit 13th in the table, but based on the form table over the last 6 games, they're showing up as the 5th best team, which is incredible. Nottingham Forest, once again, that 1-1 draw with Man City, incredible, and their home form is absolutely instrumental. But having said that, they've still picked up 5 points in their last 6 away games, which is still something. The bookmakers have Forest in 16th, which is slightly higher than last time we looked at the bookmakers' predictions, but the bookies have always been quite harsh to Nottingham Forest, so jumping up to 12th seems quite possible the way Forest are going, and they have got some more winnable games coming. If they keep up this brilliant home form as well, Nottingham Forest might make it to April, not worrying about the relegation zone. Next up in 13th place are Wolves. They currently sit 15th in the actual Premier League table, but in the form table over the last 6 games, they're up to 8th, which is a real improvement, and they've actually started scoring goals in some of their games recently. Their most recent defeat to Bournemouth was obviously not a result they wanted, but big picture, Wolves are starting to improve under the new manager. The bookmakers have Wolves to finish in 15th place. The expected goals has Wolves in 14th place. And like I say, a team that's improving with a decent squad and a manager that seems to know what he's doing. Wolves have enough Premier League experience as well to climb the table in these final few months. Coming up in 14th are Leicester City. Now, Leicester City have probably been the team I've struggled to put my finger on this season. This table has them in 14th. They currently sit 14th in the actual Premier League table. They are a bit skewed on the stats as well. The form in the last 6 games has Leicester City in 10th. So, like I say, the wins away at Aston Villa and at home to Spurs really making a big difference. And James Maddison coming back has been factored into this, that Leicester City should be alright to stay up. They currently sit 15th with the expected goals, but the bookmakers have them to climb up to 12th. So, meeting in the middle with all of that, Leicester City come 14th in this table. So then, on to the bottom 6, and this is absolute carnage. These could have been sorted in absolutely any order because of how tight it is down there. But we have Everton in 15th, Crystal Palace 16th, Leeds in 17th, West Ham in 18th, Southampton in 19th, and Bournemouth in 20th. Let's go through them one by one, starting with Everton. It's a small sample size to go off, but with Sean Dyche, they certainly look a better team. Honestly, it's only been 3 games, but they've won 2 of them, and they've won the home games as well. And bear in mind, 2 of those games were Liverpool and Arsenal. If we look at the stats here for Everton, they currently sit 17th in the form table, but that's stretched over 6 games, which includes 3 games from Frank Lampard, of course. The bookmakers have them to finish 17th at the moment, so just to survive, and they come up 17th in the expected goals, but I expect that to improve once again under Sean Dyche. Personally, I think under a different manager, Everton's chances of survival probably hung in the balance, but with Sean Dyche, this table seems to think Everton are going to be dragged kicking and screaming up to 15th and safe. Down in 16th are Crystal Palace. Now, you might look at this and think, what's this about? But the stats don't read well for Crystal Palace, especially the form. Now, the points they've got on the board are what's probably going to get them over the line this season, but everything else points towards Crystal Palace falling down the table a little bit. So let's look at them. Despite Crystal Palace currently sitting 12th in the table, in the form table they are 19th and really struggling for wins. The bookmakers have them to drop a place or 2 from where they are now until the end of the season, and the expected goals has them in 18th as well. Once again, Vieira and Crystal Palace do seem to fit, and they have got enough quality to get over the line, but this recent form and some really tough games coming up in March makes me think Crystal Palace will fall down the table a bit, but like I say, the points they've got on the board should be enough to get them over the line. Coming in 17th place are Leeds United, and I think their chances of survival do really hang in the balance after the last couple of weeks. At this moment in time, they do look set to appoint the former Watford manager Gracia as the manager to replace Jesse March, but let's have a look at some of the numbers then. Currently, Leeds are 19th in the table. They're 20th in the form table over the last 6 and the last 10 games, really struggling for wins. They have got winnable games coming, including this weekend at home to Southampton, which is an absolute 6-pointer. The expected goals has Leeds in 11th though, and that is really important. So they are playing good stuff, they are creating good chances, they really need to finish them off. I think the squad quality is quite good there. You can see they've been competitive in some games. Nonto is a player I'm really impressed by, but like I say, the expected goals and the fact that Leeds know how to just limp over the line like they did last year in the Premier League, Gracia needs to hit the ground running with this Leeds team, because right now their chances hang in the balance. This table has them to just get over the line. It has West Ham in 18th place. Now, this would be crazy. West Ham are a big club, and they've been back in the Premier League for 11 years, but it does seem set for a big club to go down this year, whether it's Leeds, West Ham, Everton, whoever. But West Ham at the moment are currently 18th in the table. They're 14th in the form table, which is okay. It could just be enough to get them over the line, but the concerning thing for West Ham at the moment is they don't want to be relying on other results to get them over the line. And if Leeds really do kick on and bounce with this new manager, then West Ham could be left in trouble. I did say a few weeks ago, I think West Ham personally need to change the manager, David Moyes, and they haven't. Yes, they've pulled out okay results here and there, but big picture, they're still in the bottom 3 and things are really getting close. Time is running out. West Ham are right in the mix. Up next, 19th place Southampton. Once again, this isn't a certainty. Southampton could bounce with a new manager. Heck, we even saw them win away at Chelsea as soon as they got rid of Nathan Jones, and they have the ability to beat some of the top teams. They beat Man City in the Carabao Cup just a few weeks ago as well. At the moment, Southampton do sit bottom, and the fact that they've got less points on the board than anyone else is obviously a concerning thing. They are playing catch up. In the the form table, they're 16th, which shows some signs of improvement, but will it be enough? God knows. The bookmakers have them in 19th, and the expected goals is 16th. So I think Southampton might come off bottom, maybe climb a place or two. This table has them only going as far as 19th, though. They really need all their players to step forwards and be counted. So then AFC Bournemouth come bottom of this table, and it does seem harsh, but I'll give my opinion here and say anyone could stay up. Honestly, I think anyone's got a chance of staying up, and we saw it with Bournemouth's important win at Wolves. Bournemouth have got the fighting spirit, and they have got one or two good players there. If their manager can inspire them to pull out back-to-back wins somewhere along the line, then they could just do enough to get over the line, because they are currently 17th in the table. But Bournemouth are 18th in the form table and show up 20th on the expected goals. The bookmakers have them to finish 20th as well, and a lot of these stats are pointing towards Bournemouth maybe being that bottom team. But personally, I wouldn't be surprised if Bournemouth do get over the line. It's incredibly tight down there. So then guys, that wraps up this video. Do share your thoughts down below. There is so much to play for, and this table was a calculation, not a prediction. So share your thoughts down below, but don't have a go at me, because this isn't personally how I think the table's going to finish. Do make sure once again though to drop a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.